everybody, this is Christine with Cocoa Daisy, and today I am sharing with you a couple of projects that I created using the July Wayfarer collection, specifically the Modern Memory Keeping Kit. So we used to include a couple of instruction sheets in with the kit, and then I found that I prefer being able to do a video like this. I can go much more in depth and just talk a lot about a lot more things than trying to really shorten it and get it on just a couple pages. So I really like the video way of having a video to show you what I created and talk about how I created it and some of the product and so on and so forth. So we're going to dig in. Now, the Modern Memory Keeping Kit, if you're not familiar with that particular kit that Cocoa Daisy offers, it is geared toward any kind of memory keeping that you do. This kit works with 12 by 12. You can make mini albums. You can make pocket. It has the pocket cards. You can create 8.5 by 11. You can do the smaller if you actually put them in like a planner, which is about like a 7 by 9 or a 5 by 7. You can do just about anything that you want. That's the beauty of this kit, is it has so many ways that it can be used. I use it all the time with my Daisy planner when I do my memory planning. And you can even, this is a great thing to use for cards as well. If you want to make, use it for all your memory keeping. And then when you're done, use the leftover bits for making some cards. The other thing that I do is I use a lot of it in my planner setup as well. So it's really a super, super versatile paper crafting kit. So I'm going to start off. I did a 12 by 12 kit, or 12 by 12 layout. And you'll see on a lot of mine, I love to, splash a little paint or ink on them. What I will do is, if I'm going to do that, I will actually do about 6 or 10 sheets all at once, because that way I'm not wasting paint. Because you have to thin it down a little bit, and if you don't use it, you just end up kind of throwing it away. So I will do a whole bunch of them at once, even sometimes smaller sheets of paper if I'm going to make some smaller layouts and so on. And so it's a great time saver. And then they're all dry and they're ready to go, and you can just grab them if that's something that you like to do on your backgrounds. So just a little tip with that. So with this one, I really wanted to use the adhesive pocket that's in the kit. So there's this really fun adhesive pocket. And actually, I'm going to see, let me grab, I might have an extra one here. I want to show you, because that one's covered up, and let's see, I have my Traveler's Notebook Memory Keeping Kit, and that had one in it as well. So I'm going to pull this out of here and show it to you just so you can see it. This one, everything's glued down, so you can't see all of it. But this is what it comes like. And it has adhesive on the back, and it's kind of see-through. So, but it's a pocket. So you have a pocket, and then you have the adhesive on the back. So I really wanted to use that on a layout. So what I did is I started with that in the middle, and then I found I had a couple of the pocket cards, and I loved how they went so well with my picture. So I ended up using both of them. But I wanted to ground them a little bit because there's a lot of white going on here. So I added a little bit of pattern paper on each side is what I started with. And I thought, well, it still feels like it's floating a little too much. So then I just cut a thin strip of patterned paper, and I put that along the bottom. And I think that really grounds everything, and it kind of keeps it it's a more simple graphic layout, but it needed that strip to just kind of keep everything balanced and, like I said, grounded. So that's what I added that for. And then I went in and I added my photograph. The little paper clip is from my stash, and I glued this down on top of the pocket, the adhesive pocket. I added a rub-on, And just a little note about the rub-ons. So when you first pull them out of the package, I always like to staple the backing to the actual rub-ons, because that way they're not going to go all over. So you can keep it together because you don't want to be touching the back of those. So you want to staple the backer right to it. So that's what I do. But what happens when you start cutting them out and you have other little pieces? Well, I do the same thing. So this was the packaging that the pocket came in. And so you can see I have a little section of the rub-ons left, and you kind of want to keep them protected. So again, I stapled it, and instead of letting that float around and possibly get caught on something or ruined, I'm putting it back in this packaging. I just saved this larger packaging to be able to kind of tuck that in and keep those safe. So a little tip on how you can use those. But always cut out each piece that you're going to use. Do not try to leave it on the sheet and rub it on. You're going to press down and you're going to ruin neighboring rub-ons. So always cut them out individually is what you should do. So I added that little rub-on there. And then I went and I added the title with the Puffy Alphas. I added another rub-on right here. And then these two are both rub-ons as well. But I wanted them to be more like die cuts. So I actually rubbed them onto just an extra piece of white cardstock and then cut them out. And then that way you turn them into die cuts and you can layer them however you want. So I added a little foam adhesive there, and then I added a few of the fun little glitter dots. Now, because I had the pocket, I thought it would be a lot of fun to kind of have things kind of coming out of the pocket, including the journaling. So what I did is I started with, I had this is a pocket card, and I loved there's a backstory here. And I thought, well, that's kind of fun because it kind of directs your eye to the fact that there's journaling in there. But again, it was kind of floating too much. It needed a little bit of color. So I cut out a piece of the compass pattern paper and I tucked that behind it just to kind of give another layer and a little bit of color. And then I used a little foam adhesive and attached those to the cardstock. The other thing I want to mention is the stamp set. So you have this fun stamp set and this little border stamp. I love this. And another way to kind of keep this white pocket card from kind of floating off or getting lost in the white background is to take this little border stamp and I just ran it off the edge of that a little bit. So you can see that card is there. It gives it kind of a little bit of a border at the top, a little bit of an edge. And then the black, of course, fits in really well with the rest of the black and white. So I'll get back to the stamp set in just a minute. So then this is another pocket card. It's a 3x4 pocket card, a fun little die cut from the die cut set. And then I just stapled it on there. So you have like a little tag or tab to pull that in and out with. And then on the back of it, I just ran it through my printer and I added my journaling. So that has my journaling in there, and you can tuck that in there. And a fun way to use these pockets is as I did here with the journaling, but you could also, if you have a bunch of pictures, it's a great way to add a bunch of extra pictures to a layout. You can keep your layout pretty simple, but then still include a bunch of pictures with it. Or if you have a lot of journaling, you could make a little accordion folded thing with the pocket cards and have a bunch of journaling on there if you wanted to. You could even make an extra little teeny mini album and tuck that in there as well. So that is the 12x12 kit. Or sorry, not the 12x12 kit, the 12x12 layout that I did. So then the other layout that I did, and before we do that, I want to mention the stamp set. One of the things that I do every month is I take any of the stamp sets that are part of the collection that month and I create a stamping video where I go through and I show you different examples on how to use them individually and how to use them together. So I encourage you especially if you're new to stamping, to go to our YouTube channel and check out this month's stamping video, and you get lots of ideas on how to layer them, some of the colors that I picked, and different things like that. So make sure you check that out. All right, so I was so thrilled because we went to Barbados, and the pictures were absolutely perfect for this month's collection. So I thought, well, I'm going to get ahead and do one of my spreads for my memory planner, and I use the Cocoa Daisy planner. That's where this layout is from. I use the Unbound, and that's why they're not currently in the coil, and then I glue them in a coil. So I actually get two. But you can disc bind them if you want, so you can get them unbound or you can get them coil bound. And actually, if you're new to memory planning, I would encourage you to go check out, we have a class that's running right now, and it's a memory planning class. So you can find that on the website under, in the shop area under classes, and you can sign up for that. And you can go at your own speed. I think they're just about wrapping it up, but it's up there, kind of in perpetuity. So you can check it out and go at your own pace. So even though the class is kind of wrapping up from when we started, you can now go back and certainly take the course if you want to. There's a ton of videos, a ton of information. So if you're new to memory planning, it would be a great place to start. But so like I said, I use the Daisy Planner memory planning system, and I thought it would be fun to show you a spread that, like, if you go on vacation or you have a special event that week or a certain week in your memory planner and you have a ton of photographs, how do you do that and still add interest, still add layers? And so I thought, well, this will be a great chance for me to show that to you. So I went ahead and I used our number stamp that we have in the store to put the dates on each day. And then normally this just says week number, and it's an area where you could add more pictures, you could add more journaling. What I did is I printed one of the pictures to fill the entire space. So I kind of use it as my title, but then also another way to get a photograph, a large one in there. I added the puffy alphas to say Barbados on there. And then what I did is I went through and I tried to not necessarily layer too many photographs, but you would be surprised at how small you can print photographs and still really be able to see what's going on. So even though you're thinking, oh, they're going to be so tiny, you can totally see what's happening. So you can get quite a few pictures in each section. So like here you can see I've got 3 of them. The majority of the other ones I have 2. But I think the key is to kind of switch up where the photos and the journaling falls. So you can see I have 2 pictures here, but I have raised the journaling here with some foam adhesive, and it's in between. Now with this one, both of the photographs are up to the top and the journaling is at the bottom. And I used some of the die cuts for both of those. And then this one, I covered up the date and I put the accent, or I used a little rub-on. You could put the journaling in there as well. For this one, I just used a rub-on and I put it in between the 2. So then this one, they're all the way to the bottom. But then I used one of, and I love these. I love when we have these in the kits. They're sticky notes, but we designed them in such a way that you can use them to add journaling. So what I did is I just then tucked that behind one of the photographs, and it kind of partially covers the date. You can still see the date, but then the journaling is then on the top. And then with this one, I have 3 photographs, but you can see then where I added the journaling in between. And then there's a couple of photographs that I raised up on a little foam adhesive just to kind of give that a little bit of dimension in there as well. On this one over here, I used one of the rub-ons and then one of these fun gold foil vellum die cuts. And I just stapled it on, and I just thought it was a cute little layer there to kind of go with the whole boat theme. Another rub on right here with some of the journaling. And then this photo I kind of put at an angle just because I have a couple of things on here with angles, and so I thought that worked out really well. And then this one, I did a fun little layering. I took all of these words and I stamped them in the background on this side because I really wasn't going to put any journaling, but I had kind of this white space, and I thought it would just be fun just as an accent. So I stamped those, and then I added one of the little die cut circles behind it because it brings in that color as well. So you kind of can see there's a triangle going on with the color. And so that is my layout. You can see on here then I have 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, about 16 pictures, if I counted quickly and correctly, which is a lot if you think about it for a whole spread. Usually you have one picture and you have some journaling in that. But I really wanted to show you how you can add a lot of pictures to your memory planning and still have it look really structured as well. And I did add, you can add the rub-ons directly to the photographs as well, just like I did on the 12 by 12. That's on the photograph paper, but you can add it right in the photograph as well. So that was kind of a fun little thing to go along with that picture. So that is my other project that I did using the Modern Memory Keeping Kit. Couple things that I wanted to mention that are in the kit and just talk about them. If you're doing memory planning like this, you can totally use the cards. So think of the cards as not that you have to use it as a 3x4, but that you can cut this up. So you could cut all of these apart and use them as labels, as label die cuts. That's something you could do with that one. You could cut this down to size and use it as pattern paper. I'm just trying to think of some of the other things that I've done. The Let's Take the Scenic Route. If I didn't have as many pictures and I wanted to fill some of the space, having this go up at an angle and then cutting it off and having my journaling in there would be super cute. That's another way you could use that. Sometimes what I've done is used the 4x6 cards because they fit almost perfectly in the horizontal section, so the Saturday and the Sunday. So you can cut that down and fill that almost that whole space. So I've done that with these as well. So this one is neat. You could just cut just the weekend looked like this and add that as a little something along the bottom as a little title. So just remember to look at the cards as pieces, as things that you can cut apart. Don't look at them as just a 3x4 card. You could use this I'm saving because I know I'm going to end up using that in here in the summer because I can cut that perfectly to fit in one of these sections with a picture over the top, and it'll be really super cute. Something to do with a seashell. But there's always a lot of fun sayings in here. This one I think would be adorable if you go out to dinner or you make a meal at home or something and you add that on there with the photograph with the meal would be really, really cute. So there's a lot of different things that you can do with these cards. Just remember to look at them not straight as 3x4, 4x6, but as pieces that you can cut apart and use, and you can go outside of these lines. You know, you could print one large photograph that spans this whole area if you wanted to. If you have a beautiful photograph that you really want to highlight, you could totally have it span 2 days. There's no rules that say that you can only have one photograph on each day or two, or they can only fit in those sections. So break the rules. There are no rules when it comes to paper crafting or creating. Something else I wanted to mention, this little Fun in the Sun acrylic piece, it's a little fragile, so you want to be careful when you're handling it, but it has, now this one I've already taken off, it will look a little dull to you, when you get it, that's because it has a little protective coating over top. You want to delicately, if you have a craft knife, you can try with your finger to kind of pull it up and then take it off. But what I like to do is just kind of go like this, and you'll pull it up with a craft knife and be able to peel it off. So it will have a little protective coating on there. But you're going to want to be careful because, like I said, it's what we call melded. So the words are all melded together. So you just want to be careful because it can be a little fragile. And I would adhere this using some glue dots, would probably be the best way to adhere that piece. So I just wanted to mention that as well. So I cannot wait for you to get your kits. We will be shipping them out next week, starting on the 6th. And I hope you have found some fun ideas in here and some inspiration as well.